He's Haley Joel Osment joins us in the New York City Man Cave. Do you have any idea what you got yourself into today?
I'm starting to get a sense of it. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, you brought up sense.
Oh, I just did myself in.
See?
Didn't
I wasn't even going to bring up the sixth sense, and there you go.
Yep. I started a timer on that. We made it 16 seconds.
Okay, but I wasn't going to bring it up. Haley brought it up. So, all right, we'll start over again because I know that
a very tense moment backstage.
I
We were
heard.
negotiating how many seconds we were allowed.
I
before
heard.
it could come
Paulie
up.
said there could have been friction with you backstage. Now, we were saying how many times you heard, I see dead people coming over here today. The over-under was 2. Past 24 hours, how many times have you heard that?
Only in the green room. And that was like 8 times, but
Wait, who brought that up?
on the television in the green room.
Oh.
The lead-in.
Me. So it was me? Would you like to leave now?
No,
Okay,
I'll
okay.
stay.
All
I'll
right,
stay.
okay. We figure you hear that every single day.
Not so much, really. Not out in public and stuff
Seriously.
like that. No, it's when it came out initially, it was a sort of a big thing. But I heard it at a Dodger game. That was maybe my favorite instance of it. They had Yasiel Puig say it as part of the like mid-inning trivia thing. So that was kind of fun.
Why am I angrier than you are that you didn't win the Academy Award?
Oh, yeah, because that whole award season stuff is such. Even people who have been in the industry for decades, I think still there's just a sense of craziness to it, and it truly is just an honor to be there.
You said sense again, though, just to let you know.
I mean, I guess it's sort of filtering into my vocabulary a lot more now.
But I wondered if you were too young to win.
I don't know.
Do they hold it against you and say you got to kind of earn your way?
I don't know how much stuff like that figures into it. I mean, when I'm a member of the Academy now, I vote every year. It's hard to really think about it in those terms and not to factor in like an actor that you really love. You'd love to get. I mean, it's a really complicated thing, and I always really try and go to the performance that stands out the most to you. But it's a challenging thing, so that's why when you go in there, there's no assurances and there's no sense of like, oh, you missed out on something. I mean, just being in a category, and especially with Michael Caine because he said such wonderful things, in his speech. That was a really special moment.
You know that Fritzy, my booker, reached out to Michael Caine to get him to come on today.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But I think to rub it in that he won the Academy Award and Michael Caine said he was on holiday, so he couldn't join us. So I thought it might be awkward if we had Michael Caine on.
And he'd bring the Oscar.
Yes.
Yeah. Or more than one, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he stole yours.
No. Oh, well, thank you for saying that.
Oh, my God. You were unbelievable in that movie.
Thanks.
But,
yeah.
Part of it, you're wondering how does a 10-year-old find that?
It truly is. There's just some scripts where, I mean, there's roles where, you have to do a really complicated, performance emotionally, and you sort of reach into your memories or into your past to find times that, can inspire you to do it on camera. And then there's scripts like The Sixth Sense where I, was only 10 years old, didn't have a whole lot of life experience to draw from, but the script was so relatable even to somebody, who was my age, that it brings it out in you. And to be on a set where Knight managed how everything felt in a really, helpful way for the performances. It really, it took a lot of work, but it was just a set where that magic can kind of happen.
So you're working with Bruce Willis.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know. Is that factoring in? There's one of the biggest stars in the world at the time.
Yeah. I mean, and I had seen several of his movies. I was aware of, there's some people you work with young and you hadn't seen too many of their things, but with Bruce, I was a fan and, he was the coolest. Yeah, just and the way that he and Knight and everybody we all had a sense of that this is a great script and all we had to do was all work very harmoniously together and make it happen, and they certainly did that.
But we're talking to Haley Joel Osment. I know I'm a fanboy with this, but being a fellow actor, obviously you've seen me in Sandler movies, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
More than a dozen, you were saying earlier,
yes,
right?
Yes. Can you cry on cue?
In life, no. So I would not be able to get out of a ticket or something like that. No. But on cue is a tough thing because there are times where a scene just brings it out in you, and there are times where you got to work yourself up to it. It's a really odd thing to to perform.
Do
You know, so.
I use Visine to give the.
Oh, really?
Yes, I mean, a little trick.
They
that
had
I
a
learned.
trick that I luckily don't think I've ever was resorted to this, but they had this thing that they use for small children for scenes like this, where they blow menthol into their eyes, but it just makes the kid doesn't really look like crying. It just looks like so. I never resorted to that.
They didn't blow menthol into your
No,
eyes
they
on,
didn't,
on
no.
The Sixth Sense.
No.
And I love the fact that you sort of play this. I don't know. Describe your role in Entourage. It's snarky. Is it bad
the
guy?
biggest jerk on screen.
Okay, fair enough.
Who,
There you go.
Who creates so much trouble for the characters that you've known and loved through the run of the show. So yeah, reading that script, I was just laughing because Doug had just created a character where every scene you get to do just outrageous business and getting to go toe to toe with Jeremy Piven, you know, and his iconic character. So yeah, that character was a lot of fun to play.
How surprising is it? Because you're at the crux of the movie.
Yeah,
you're
that
a
was
central character there. I thought it was a cameo.
And it was fun because, like, for a year after we shot it, I think that was most people's understanding. And then when it finally came out, I was talking to a lot of members of the press who were like, "Oh, I didn't even realize it was you until like halfway through," which is always fun for an actor. So,
you know, when you have success as a 10-year-old, and then how do you go on with? We see child actors where it goes horribly wrong. It didn't with you.
Well, thank you. I mean, number one has always just been I had parents who were really supportive and also made education the main focus on everything. I went to college at NYU. I finished my education through all the phases of that. And just to, when I was younger, we're saying, like, if this isn't fun, you know, you can quit tomorrow. Like, there was no pressure. There was no weirdness. And the sets that I was on, because of the producers and the directors that I worked with and the actors that I worked with, were just very wholesome places to grow up in a way.
But if you take acting classes at NYU and you've already been in a couple of major movies, did you get an A in acting?
I don't think always. No, I mean, it's there's just so much to learn about it, and the stuff that I did in college, we were doing everything from, you know, ballet stuff with the Merce Cunningham people, a lot of Grotowski work. He's probably the most dominant philosophy at the experimental theater wing. But there's so much to learn, and a lot of the people that I worked with, and for the first time working with people who were pretty much all my same age, which is really exciting. A lot of them had a lot more experience than me in doing this stuff in the theatrical zone. So that's why I wanted to go, because I knew there's always more to learn.
And then you're in Forrest Gump.
That's right. Yeah.
So you at the very end of the movie, you're his son.
That's right. Yeah.
How much did you make for that role?
Oh, I don't know.
Like hundreds?
I don't know what it is. And this
Like
is
scale?
20 years ago, so
Yeah.
I don't know. I really don't remember.
And they find you. Like, you can't even process that you're working with Spielberg and you're working
that
with
one
Tom.
I could.
Oh, you
yeah,
could?
that one. Yeah, the one that took longer for me to process was Stanley Kubrick's involvement, because there aren't a whole lot of Stanley Kubrick movies you can watch when you're 11. I'd seen
Your parents won't allow that?
2001. I saw Doctor Strangelove, and I remember thinking, like, this movie is over my head right now.
So you didn't watch Full Metal Jacket, did you?
No, but then I did watch the Paths of Glory and everything, the films that I could see when I was that age. So I knew who he was. I knew how important an artist he was. And then as time has gone on, and I've had an adult relationship with those movies, it's made me feel so lucky to have been part of that, to also appreciate how great Stanley was and how amazing Steven was in faithfully bringing their project to the screen after his death. Because they had this exhibit at LACMA 2 years ago, where they had drawings that Stanley had made in like the late 80s, well before they ever started really doing too much in pre-production, and Steven had completely recreated the ice stuff at the end that they had in mind. He'd faithfully brought it to the screen, which is pretty cool.
And you had Robin Wright in there too, right?
She played my mother. Yeah.
How hot was she?
She's a great first lady.
Well, you were only how old were you at the time?
Yeah, I was 4.
Yeah,
so,
so you probably didn't know. You can be honest now. How hot? Yeah, she's hot.
I love that show. Yeah, and one of my friends, Bill Kennedy, he writes for it, and he wrote Sex Ed, this film we did last year. So yeah.
Do you want to stick around and talk sports?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I do one fanboy thing?
Of course.
Now you can say no to it. Can I get the camera to just focus on you? And all you have to do is say, "I see Danettes."
Danettes?
Yeah, my Danettes.
Oh, Dan.
okay.
Yeah. Hello.
Okay, so you don't have to say,
Yeah.
"I see dead people."
Yeah, that is yeah.
Okay, so can you look at? Can we
Yeah.
get a camera? Okay, after the break, we'll come back because you're going to have to get your acting.
Yeah.
Got to clear your head. You need to go back about 17 years or so, and in fact, we'll see who can do it better.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I will cry. They make me cry for a variety of reasons. All right, coming up on 17 after the hour, we'll continue with Haley Joel Osment. He'll join us after the break. This is The Dan Patrick Show.